Good morning students. I am Professor Gharge from College of Agriculture Baramati going to present a topic an introduction to plant breeding, its objective and historical development. All of us knows that plants are most important organisms on the planet. They occupied bottommost part of the food chain. Hence, we refer them as a producers. All other organisms depend on plant directly or indirectly for their food. Almost 85% of world's food consumed by human is plant based. The plants grown for a food purpose are called as food crops. Food crops highly dependent on water availability, soil and climatic condition. Sometimes due to environmental condition like drought, salinity, heat, these crops do not produce sufficient food. And we know that our population is increases day by day. Therefore, food production must be increases. If food production does not increases, it causes food crisis. As well as the land of agriculture is very limited due to urbanization or civilization. Day by day, the land is going to be decreases. Hence, it is necessary to improve the productivity of crop per acre. So, by implementing plant breeding, we were able to improve the quality and productivity of food crops. Plant breeding is a unique science in at least two ways. First, it uses knowledge and techniques from many basic sciences. And secondly, its contribution to agricultural progress is measured not only by information but also by material products such as crop varieties, hybrids, clones, etc. So, plant breeding is the art, science and technology of changing the heredity of plants for human welfare. So, plant breeding is called as an art because selection of superior plants require human skill, imagination and experiences. So, in earlier days, man depended on his skill for selection of superior plants or better plants, and in earlier days man is not having any knowledge about the inheritance of character, role of environment in producing them and the basis of variation in various plant character. Therefore, the selection of plant is totally depend on the human skill, knowledge and creativity. Therefore, it is referred as in earlier days as a art. But in nowadays, plants breeding is also considered as a current phase of crop evaluation. As the knowledge of genetics and other related science progresses, plant breeding is become a less art and more science. As we are using these genetic principles as well as sequential steps of hybridization, selection, evaluation, multiplication, release and experimentation in development of new cultivar. Therefore, nowadays it is a more science. Plant breeding is also considered as a technology because the ultimate aim of plant breeding is to develop a superior varieties or hybrids for a commercial cultivation. So at the end of plant breeding, we will get a useful product, a new cultivar, hybrid or clone, which is directly used by farming community, and they will receive a benefit from that. Therefore it is considered as a technology. So definition of plant breeding is: plant breeding is broadly defined as the art and science of improving the genetic makeup of plants in relation to their economic use. Now we are going to see the role of plant breeding. So we know that human beings are dependent on the plants for their food, shelter, clothing, fuel. So plant breeding is going to play here an important role in breeding of field crops as well as breeding of the crops such as cotton, sun hemp, that will directly involved in the production of cloth, as well as we can also make improvement in crops such as euphorbia, jatropha, which will be used for a biofuel production. And also nowadays maize and sugarcane is also used as an important source for ethanol production. So by making improvement in those crops, we will increase its productivity as well as production. In the same manner, we are using some plants, medicinal plant, for a making of drug. So those drugs are used for a treatment of human and animal diseases. So we can make a breeding of such a medicinal plant, so we can improve their productivity and production. The next one is entertainment. So for entertainment, flower plants are playing a very essential role in people celebrations and everyday lives like a wedding, Christmas, etc. So most of the medicinal plant or flowering plants are seasonal in nature. So we can shift their seasonal timing of reproduction through implementing a plant breeding. So we will get a new varieties that can be adopted throughout the year to different environmental condition, and throughout the year we will get a flower production. The next point is challenges before plant breeder. First challenge, as I already told you, that is the increasing population. So world population is increasing day by day. So that is a main problem from breeding aspect. That is our food productivity is also must be increases up to meet the increasing population demand. We not have to only increase the food productivity, but also we have to pay attention towards its nutritional quality. So each and every person should get a healthy food without harmful agrochemicals. So that is a main problem in front of breeders, that is we have to feed this ever growing population with quality food. Then second problem or second challenge is squeezing of arable land. So day by day our total cultivable land for agriculture is decreasing due to urbanization and industrial development. So we have to tackle this problem, because our agriculture land is limited, we will get a less production. So in that available land we have to develop a varieties that should give a more production per unit area. Then third one is erratic rainfall. In India, the rainfall is completely unpredictable, unevenly distributed. 80% of annual rainfall we receive only in the 4 months, that is June to September, and the remaining 8 months we are not having rainfall. Therefore breeders have to develop a varieties which can tolerate dry spell and perform better at low water availability. Then another problem or another challenge is a mechanization. The variety developed by the plant breeder should give a response to application of fertilizers, manures and irrigation, as well as these newly developed varieties should be suitable for a mechanical cultivation, because again we are facing here major problem of labors. So labors are not available at a cheaper rate. So now farming community is moving towards the mechanization. So whatever varieties we are developing, it must be suitable for a mechanical cultivation. Next point is aim of plant breeding. So main aim of plant breeding is improve the characteristic of plant so that they become more desirable agronomically and economically. So it should have the newly developed crop should have a more desirable agronomic characters, as well as it should give a more economic output. So that is the aim of plant breeding. Next, objectives of plant breeding. So the prime objective of plant breeding is to develop superior plant over the existing one in relation to their economic use. So these objectives are again going to differ from crop to crop. Only few important objectives we are going to discuss here. First, higher productivity. So the ultimate aim of plant breeder is to improve the yield of economic produce. It may be grain yield, fodder yield, fiber yield, tuber yield, cane yield or oil yield depending upon the crop species. Improvement in yield can be achieved either by evolving high yielding varieties or hybrids. And second one is improved quality. So the price of produce is determined by its quality. Again, quality differ from crop to crop. It refers to the cooking quality in case of rice, baking quality in wheat, malting quality in barley, fiber length, strength and fineness in cotton, nutritive and keeping quality in fruits and vegetables, protein content in pulses, oilseed content in oilseed crops and sugar content in sugarcane and sugar beet. And the third one is diseases and insect resistance. So crop plants are attacked by various diseases and insects, resulting in considerable yield loss. So genetic resistance is the cheapest and the best method of minimizing such losses. Resistance varieties are developed through the use of resistant donor parents available in gene pool. Next, varieties for new season. The varieties for new seasons have been developed by adjusting the growth cycle of the variety to suit better to the available growing season. Traditionally, we know that maize is a kharif crop, but scientists are now able to grow maize throughout the year. So certain modifications had made in this maize crop, so we can take production of maize throughout the year. In the same manner, moong bean is a mainly kharif crop, but now we can grow this moong bean or green gram in summer season also. The next one is modification of agronomic characteristics. So modification of agronomic characteristics such as a plant height, tillering, branching, erect or trailing habit, etc. These are the often desirable characters. Again, this modification of agronomic characteristic is again differs from crop to crop. For example, dwarfness in cereal is desirable because it is generally associated with lodging resistance and fertilizer responsiveness. Next one, change in maturity duration. So through breeding we can make a change in maturity period. So it permits a new crop rotation and often extend the crop area. So development of wheat varieties suitable for late planting has permitted rice wheat rotation. So this objective is more desirable especially in those areas where multiple cropping systems has been followed. So in a 1 year we can take 3 to 4 crops. Next, photo and thermo insensitivity. So development of varieties insensitive to light and temperature helps in crossing the cultivation boundaries of crop plant. In maize, rice and potato, now varieties are available which can be grown during summer as well as in winter season. So evaluation of photo and thermosensitive varieties permits their cultivation in new area outside the boundaries of cultivation of crop species. Next, synchronous maturity. So it refers to the maturity of crop species at a one time. So this character is highly desirable in crops like green gram, cowpea and cotton where several pickings are required for crop harvest. So due to incorporation of this character, we will get a large part of your harvest at a one time. The next one is non-shattering characteristic. So it will also have a great value in crops like moong, castor, soybean where shattering is a major problem which will cause a yield loss. So due to incorporating this character, we will get a time to wait for harvest. The next one is determinant growth. So development of varieties with determinant growth is desirable again in crops like moong bean, pigeon pea, cotton, etc. So more number of flowers you will get at a one time, and harvesting of such a crops you can take at a one time. Next, dormancy. So dormancy plays both again beneficial and harmful role according to the need of grower. For example, if we want next crop immediate after harvesting of previous crop, in such a case dormancy is not required, but if we want to store the seed for its future purpose or for a long duration, a period of dormancy is essential. The next one is elimination of toxic substances. Some crops have toxic substances which must be eliminated to make them safe for consumption. For example, in kesari, that is Lathyrus odoratus, the seeds have a neurotoxin that is beta and oxyl alpha beta diamino propionic acid that causes paralysis in humans. If you eat kesari dal, then it will have a chances to create a paralysis in human beings. So we need to remove those toxic substances from this kesari dal. In the same manner, elimination of erucic acid from brassica oil and gossypol from seed cotton is necessary to make them fit for consumption. Next, involvement of different disciplines in crop improvement. So first, plant breeding involves several disciplines for development of improved cultivars. The important disciplines which have a close relationship with plant breeding and are involved in the crop improvement includes cytogenetics and genetics. So, it plant breeding is an applied branch of genetics. It involves various genetic principles. Hence, knowledge of this cytogenetics and genetics is essential to start a crop improvement program. Then second discipline is morphology and taxonomy. So, resistance to biotic and abiotic factor is generally associated with some morphological characters. Sometimes resistant genes are found in wild relatives of crop plant. So, moreover, development of ideal plant type has some morphological basis. Hence, some knowledge of plant morphology and taxonomy is essential to a plant breeder for utilization of morphological variation and transfer of resistant genes from wild sources. Then the third one is plant physiology. So, crop plant suffer from abiotic stresses such as drought, salinity, heat, cold, etc. So, development of varieties for such a situation requires some knowledge of plant physiology. Moreover, sometimes breeder has to develop physiologically efficient genotype through the exploitation of genetically controlled physiological variation, and for that purpose utilization of this crop physiology or plant physiology is essential. The next one is plant pathology. So, crop plants are infested by a number of fungal, bacterial and viral diseases. Plant breeder has to evolve resistant varieties for various diseases for which some knowledge of plant pathology is essential. Moreover, close association of plant pathologists is essential for achieving such goal. The next branch is entomology. Crop plants are also attacked by a large number of insect species. In some cases, insects pose serious threat to the cultivation of plant species. In such a situation, genetic resistance is the only answer. For development of insect resistant or tolerant cultivars, a plant breeder needs close cooperation of entomologists or some training in entomology. Then the next branch is agronomy and soil science. So, knowledge of the principles of crop production is essential to raise a good crop. This helps in selection and proper evaluation of breeding material. The material should be evaluated under optimum condition. Sometimes the breeder has to evolve a crop varieties resistant to salinity or acid sulfate soils. So, the resistance lines are identified and isolated by screening the available germplasm on saline or acidic soil. So, accomplishment of such a task requires close cooperation of soil scientists or some training in soil sciences. Then another discipline is biochemistry. So, various chemical tests are conducted to determine protein, amino acid, oil and fatty acid content, especially in food crops. So, moreover, chemical tests are also conducted to determine the presence of toxic compounds in crops like a kesari, dal, brassica and cottonseed. So, such task requires close cooperation of biochemist or some training in biochemistry. The next one is agricultural engineering. So, use of machinery in crop harvesting requires development of varieties with adaptation to mechanical harvesting in wheat, sorghum, berseem and many vegetable crop including tomato and potato. Varieties are available which can be harvested with machine. So, development of crop varieties suitable for mechanical harvesting needs close cooperation between agricultural engineer and plant breeder. Then the next discipline is statistic and biometrics. Plant breeder has to test the performance of various breeding materials in field experiment. Hence, knowledge of experimental design and statistical method is essential for a plant breeder. He has to carry out lot of biometrical analysis such as correlation, path coefficient, discriminant function, diallele, partial diallele, line into tester analysis, etc. Hence, he should be well versed with various biometrical techniques. Another discipline is a computer. It is difficult to carry out various biometrical analysis with simple calculators. So, we are having now computer programs available for various biometrical analysis. The calculation which require months together for completion can be finished in few minutes through computers. Moreover, computers are useful in compiling information and plant modeling studies. Thus, some knowledge of computer handling is essential to a plant breeding. And the last one is plant biotechnology. So, plant biotechnology is a combination of plant tissue culture and genetic engineering. Biotechnology is useful tool for development of transgenic crop plant with herbicide resistance, good quality and resistance to biotic and abiotic stresses. It also makes distant crosses possible through somatic hybridization. Thus, knowledge of plant biotechnology is essential for a plant breeder. Next, undesirable effect of plant breeding. Plant breeding has several useful applications in the improvement of crop plants. However, it has four main undesirable effects on crop plants. The first one is reduction in diversity. So, modern improved varieties are more uniform than land races. Thus, plant breeding leads to reduction in genetic diversity. The uniform varieties are more prone to the new races of pathogen than land races which have a high genetic diversity. So, due to continuous use of these newly developed high yielding varieties, it will extend our land races which result in the reduction in diversity. Second one is narrow genetic base. So, uniform varieties have a narrow genetic base. Therefore, such varieties generally have a poor adaptability. On other hand, a more diverse genotype like land races or primitive cultivars have a wide adaptability. Another danger is or another undesirable effect is danger of uniformity. So, most of the improved varieties have some common parents in their pedigree which may cause danger of uniformity. However, we can avoid this danger of uniformity through development of multi-line varieties in self-pollinated crop and synthetic and composite varieties in cross-pollinated crop. The next one is undesirable combination. Sometimes plant breeding leads to development of undesirable combination. For the example, a human being made crops having undesirable combinations such as Raphanobrassica and Pomato. So the scientist Karpanchenko wants a root like a radish and shoot or head like a cabbage. For that purpose he crossed this radish with cabbage, but he get an undesirable combination, that is root like cabbage and shoot like radish. The next one is increased susceptibility to minor diseases and pests. Due to emphasis on breeding for resistance to major diseases and insect pests, we will get a control over those major diseases and pests. But that resulted in an increased susceptibility to minor diseases and pests. So minor disease pests become nowadays major diseases and pests. Next, future prospects. Plant breeding has played and shall continue to play an important role in the improvement of crop plants. Now, new plant breeding approaches such as somatic hybridization and genetic engineering are available. So, we will we will modify those plants by using those aspects. So, genetic manipulation of population by increasing the frequency of desirable allele in cross-pollinated crop, as well as by introducing male sterility in self-pollinated crop like wheat and rice, we can make an improvement. Another one, intensive breeding of pulses and oilseed crop we can perform like cereals and other crops. We are having a full scope here for making use of proper breeding method with improved crop management practices, use of heritability methods, then development of high yielding varieties of vegetable and seed crop, because currently we are majorly covering only cash crops and cereals. So other aspects such as oil seed, pulses, vegetable, those are not up to such an extent we have make improvement. So we are having here full scope to make improved varieties, high yielding varieties in vegetable crops, seed crops. Also we can focus on quality improvement in oil seed and vegetable. Then we can also make a use of transgenic plants in medicinal plants. And the last one is development of varieties which are desirable for mechanical threshing and cultivation. So here we are having a scope of plant breeding. Thank you for listening this video. Thank you.